This one today, potentially a historic day for Louisiana Monroe, a program that's never won a bowl game, trying to get bowl eligible. Tayoka, Texas State did it last year, won their first bowl game. Last couple of losses, though, Louisiana Monroe, the pressure's gotten to them. How do they not let the pressure get to them today?
So listen, my message to both teams, be where your feet are, right? Take care of today. Everybody want to worry about tomorrow. No. Forget about bowl games and wins. Take care of today, and tomorrow will take care of itself.
Well, one thing Texas State fans have been worried about this week, who's going to be the starting quarterback? Jordan McLeod went down against Louisiana. Could be R.J. Martinez today. Could be Brad Jackson. Nonetheless, whoever's starting.
In all of college football, he led FBS. I want you to keep home, please.
ULM said their mission is to win a bowl game for the first time in program history. They have a chance to get eligible today on their home field. Mahdi taking this up and brought down at the 25. So Brian Vincent, the head coach for Louisiana Monroe, has energized this community. Here he is energizing his team before the game.
Every snap, make them feel us. Every snap, we ain't never getting down. We don't understand getting down. We fight it one snap at a time. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Let's go get after these boys right now. Hey, everything you got, let's go.
So we were wondering who would come out at QB for Texas State. It is Jordan McLeod, and he hands it off on the first play of the game to Ismail Mahdi. So that's big news on the Texas State side of things. We weren't sure if McLeod would be ready to go. They had been splitting reps with R.J. Martinez and Brad Jackson. As you see Brian Vincent there, one of the best motivators in the country right now. His Louisiana Monroe team got off to the 5-1 start, have lost their last couple of games, but back on their home field for the first time in a few weeks. And back to the ground goes Texas State. It is a balanced, electric offense. Tayoka, like we talked about, they're trying to get back to that electricity, and having McLeod certainly helps.
No question about it. He's a dual threat guy, super efficient. As you see, the completion percentage up near 70. So they're glad to have him back. But as I said in the open, Ismail Mahdi, he's the key.
Well, 3 plays and 3 different carries for Mahdi. Brought down there. Good play from Traver Randall. Kind of works as an extra defensive back almost, but he lists him as a linebacker. He racks up the tackles on this defense.
Yeah, he plays a star position for this defense. Like you said, he's sort of a hybrid safety linebacker type. Makes a ton of plays. This position and number 5, Billy Pullen, playing the jack position. Those are the playmakers for this defense. You'll call their name a lot today.
Expected to be pretty grimy, Tayoka, rainy, just like you like.
Yes, sir.
McLeod's first throw, incomplete, into the turf. Randall was there again in the face of McLeod. This Texas State team averages 32 points per game, averaged nearly 37 last year, 45% on the season on 3rd down.
So you got 3rd and long here for ULM. How do you heat up this pocket and make Jordan McLeod uncomfortable? Because if he is comfortable in the pocket, guys, he will carve a defense up.
You want to test him early, too, coming back from injury?
No doubt.
They'll throw it. Little screen set up for Hobart, who is immediately bottled up by a host of black shirts for Louisiana Monroe. David Anderson got there first.
Well, I love the hustle from Anderson. You run a wide receiver screen, you're counting on the entire front getting upfield and taking themselves out to play. But number 28, David Anderson, put his foot in the ground, redirected, and hustled to the football. Nice play.
So Texas State splits the punting duties between David Nunez and Lars Rao. It's the freshman from California, Rao, who will punt it here. Louisiana Monroe came after that one. Devon Wells lets this hop. It's about the 33-yard line. So we talked to Brian Vincent, head coach for Louisiana Monroe, and he told us, in his words, Tayoka, he hopes it rains like hell, which it is right now. The reason he said that is because back in January, when he started to compile his players' first year as the head coach, they would practice every day at 6 a.m. in the rain. Rains pretty often around these parts in January, and sometimes players look at him like, a little crazy, why are we out here every day? But he asked his team earlier this week, if it rains, are we going to be ready? Everyone said absolutely.
Yeah, you got them comfortable with being uncomfortable. You can't always control the environment, but you can control your effort and attitude. And so I look forward to Monroe having a great attitude here.
Aiden Armenta, the QB, will hand it off. There's Ahmad Hardy's first carry, the freshman who has had a historic year that we're going to dip into, gain of 5 on that opening run. Armenta became the starter. The first game was against James Madison, but came in second half of the Troy game in replacement of General Booty. Despite the 3-1 start, Coach Vincent decided to make the change. Armenta followed Coach Vincent from New Mexico to Louisiana Monroe. Hands it off to Hardy once again, the true freshman from Mississippi. We had a great conversation with yesterday. So it seems like both teams trying to establish the ground game early in this wet weather.
Well, I think you have to, because you're just not sure what you can get out with these conditions. Not a whole lot of wind, but that ball is going to be slick. So ball security from whoever's carrying it is going to be key today.
Brings up 3rd and 6.
Early test for this redshirt freshman Armenta. They love his leadership skills. Let's see if he can be accurate again in this rainy condition situation.
Gets a good pocket throw off the mark. Had intentions for Tyler Griffin. In on the coverage was Joshua Eaton. They love his size, about 6'2", the corner from Houston.
Yeah, he's long. He's a transfer from Oklahoma. Tight coverage, forcing a perfect throw. Just a slant route. Ball just a little bit away from the receiver. You certainly want to throw it from the defender, but you got to give your guy a chance. Eventually, Aiden's going to have to settle down and make that play.
Mackenzie Ryan, the Aussie punter, 25-year-old true freshman, former rugby player. Boot this one away as both teams exchange punts to begin the game. Hobart, the star receiver for Texas State, back to return. High hang time, hanging up there for a while for Hobart, who calls the fair catch. Both teams have lost 2 games in a row. Both teams hungry for a win, back on the field in the wet weather today in Monroe.
Amelia, turn off alarm. Amelia, weather?
70 degrees and sunny today.
Amelia, unlock the door.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Jen.
Why not?
Did you forget something?
My protein shake.
The future isn't scary. Not investing in it is.
You're so dramatic, Amelia.
Bye, Jen.
100 innovative companies, 1 ETF. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
The PFL World Championships. After a season of battles and bruises, all the sacrifices and scars are about to pay off.
One night, 6 belts, $6 million, $6 million.
And a legacy.
A legacy that'll last forever.
That belt,
that title, that million is mine.
It all comes down to this. This is the PFL World Championship.
Back in Louisiana, Monroe. So, Tyok, I know you were fired up for your keys today. What do you got?
Look, in their first 4 wins, Texas State has outscored its opponents in the first quarter by a combined 57-6. And defensively, if the Warhawks can steal a couple extra possessions for their offense, they just might still win number 6 and be bowl eligible.
Texas State coming off that loss to Louisiana. Their first couple of drives, they moved it down the field in that game, but it came away with field goals. Ended up losing by 6. A patient run here. It is Burgess getting his first carry with the tackle from Langston. And it was a violent one.
Yeah, it was. I like that too. but look, the patience and the vision, he's looking for it. But guess what? There are no holes to exploit, because right now, defensively, this ULM squad is getting up the field with penetration and filling every gap.
Rain pouring down on Jordan McLeod, who was a game-time decision this week, leading the Sun Belt in touchdown passes with 20. It's been heavy ground game early. Really the first good hole that opens up here for Burgess, the Texas native.
I mean, just keep handing it off. You got to do it, right? I love the fact that they're sticking to the run. This is who you are, and it doesn't matter if it's Mavi or Burgess or they got a stable of backs, but just establish this running game, because you know you've got the ability to throw the football to Joey Hobart and others, but it all starts up front and dominating the line of scrimmage offensively.
You got 4 receivers in this offense with over 300 yards on the season. And this time a tuck and run here, trying to pick up the first down. Emerging out of the pile is Brad Jackson, who comes in specifically to run that. So McLeod comes out, Jackson stays in. They do like to move up tempo when they can, doing exactly that here. Going back to Burgess on the interior, but right into the teeth of that UL Monroe defense.
So they're giving the ball to different guys, showing this defense different looks. I like the way that they're mixing things up. Mark Leftwich is showing a lot of different things early. Smart.
Yeah, last 2 weeks, they have admitted they haven't been up to their standard offensively. Texas State held under 20 points in each of those losses. But back on the field first time in 10 days and ready to rock and roll. Some fresh legs here for Madi. Gets shoved out of bounds by Carlin Vigors over on the sideline. There is a flag out on the field.
This is the gap scheme. They're going to pull people, Jason, down and pull and kick out.
Offense number 9. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat second down.
Obviously, that holding penalty is not what you want. They're trying to stay on schedule offensively.
Negates the 9-yard run.
Texas State has had problems with penalties. They had 16 penalties versus Lamar earlier this year. That cannot be an issue today.
See G.J. Kinney, the head coach for Texas State there. This group at 4-4 on the season, won 8 games last year, won the first bowl game in program history. Now they go back to Madi, got through the initial tackle, gets past the 40, and gets all of the yardage back that they lost via that last penalty. Randall ultimately brings him down, but not after a first down game.
This is a big offensive line. And once they get on you, they glom on you. Show me a black jersey getting off. Nobody's getting off blocks. And that's a bad sign, because if you've got number 21 going into your second level, your defense untouched, it's going to be a long, long day.
One of 8 teams, Taoka, in the FBS to start the same 5 on the O-line in every game.
That's continuity right there.
We get to talk with the left guard, Nash Jones, earlier this week. He loves this group. They barrel ahead again. You can feel the imprints of what they're trying to do. Deion Hankins, 5th-year senior from El Paso, able to lower his shoulder there.
And you talked about that offensive line. They're one of the best at not giving up TFLs. They're 4th in the conference and top 20 in the country. And that does a great job of keeping you on schedule offensively.
7 plays, 7 runs on this drive. Make it 8 plays, 8 runs. Wow. Hankins has a big one, getting inside of the red zone and dragging tacklers down inside of the 5. The big body of Hankins at 6'2", 228, just carrying bodies.
What's funny is he's been 33 all year, and now he's 88.
He's looking pretty good on him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It looks like Superman. Look at him break the tackles and keep the legs churning. Wow, that was an amazing run. And again, the gap scheme. Down and pull around, kicking out people. There is a hole in that B gap, C gap area, and both of these backs are exploiting it.
The longest run of the season, they went for 47. And they're going to set up shop inside of the 5 at about the 3-yard line. It has been all ground game, pounding it forward for the game's opening touchdown for Texas State. It's Hankins again.
Nothing fancy there. Big on big, moving people up front. And that's just a straight dive into the A-gap, running through contact. What a start for that offensive line, huh?
Talk about here's what we're going to do, and let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, the conditions. You got to understand, this is going to be a 9-on-7 run drill for most of this game. Who's going to be up to the task defensively? Who's going to get off blocks? Because if you don't, they got a bunch of backs who can make plays.
Mason Shipley for the extra point. Game's first touchdown. 9 plays. All of them were runs, 76 yards. And a touchdown to cap it off on the road for Texas State.
Hint of sweetness, gingerbread galore.
What?
Come on, give me another. It's like a warm hug for your nose. Vanilla cashmere.
How does he do it?
Yeah, slay!
Get 50% off beauty gift sets and more, only at Target.
What is it?
The bus is leaving in 5 minutes.
All right, fine, I'll be out in a second.
You scared the gigabytes out of me.
I scared you.
The future isn't scary. Not investing in it is. 100 innovative companies, one ETF.
I think I might have oiled myself.
Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
The future's worth fighting for, because our nation is worth believing in. Together, we answer America's call to win. We are Marines. We were made for this.
The Allstate Saturday Kickoff is brought to you by Allstate. You're in good hands. And McDonald's.
So G.J. Kinney there, the current head coach for Texas State, and Dexter McCoyle, the current defensive coordinator for Texas State, played together at Tulsa. Dexter McCoyle was a DB, set the Tulsa and Conference USA career interceptions record in 2009 to 2011. G.J. and then they got together as coaches, were together at Incarnate Word with that staff that came over to Texas State together, brought several players from Incarnate Word to this program that again made a bowl game last year and won a bowl game for the first time in program history. And now UL Monroe will take back over a program that's trying to clinch bowl eligibility today, but down 7 early.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Both of these two, as we take a look at these keys. So look, for ULM, the key of the game, they need to establish the run. They're going to do that, right? But in order to get the win, they've got to hit on some play-action passes downfield. And defensively for the Bearcats, the defensive line is all about disruption and tackles for loss. They are one of the most productive fronts I've studied all year. I mean, very impressive. They got a bunch of guys. They get after guys in the backfield. I like that.
About 45% pressure rate.
Yeah.
They dial it up.
They trample the run on the way to the quarterback.
So Monroe opts to counter with the running game. Breaking through some tackles is Ahmad Hardy. He did that very well in high school, which he was in last year this time. Yeah. And he's doing that well this year.
Well, head coach Brian Vincent said one of the best things he loves about him is that he runs with violence. And Spears just got a taste of that right now. This kid, again, 18 years old, talking about Hardy. He brings the wood every single play. If you want to tackle him, you better get down low, bring your arms, and run your feet.
They like to call it getting a dirty three. Just give me three. Give me three more.
Yes, sir.
In a dirty fashion.
And a lot of young backs don't like to do that. They try to bounce. Not this kid.
Oh, the ball is out. Mentioned the weather might be an issue today. Luckily for Louisiana Monroe, it comes out again after Armenta had scooped it up, then pounced on by a lineman. But they're still battling for this football underneath the pile. Looks like Monroe has it, but it was like a bar of soap there, and no one could hang on to it.
Yeah, on a day like today, when you got young players, you got a redshirt freshman quarterback, freshman running back.
On the field is a fumble recovered by the offense.
Really important that you emphasize to them that this is not things as usual. This is not just normal operation. You have to actually concentrate more on squeezing the football, caring for the football more. We talk about it every week. The hopes and dreams of the program is resting with the ball carrier. You got to take care of that thing.
They've taken care of it pretty well this year. Only one fumble on the season for Louisiana Monroe. But 3rd and 12 here. Tough in these conditions. They'll just dump it off. Hauled in by Julian Nixon. A flag comes out. He gets brought down near the line of scrimmage.
Now, I saw a hold, Jason. Not sure if that's going to be it, and it is.
Referee Marshall Lewis.
Holding, offense number 56. Penalties decline. 4th down.
So, yeah, they got Jay Mickle. See if we can see Jay Mickle, the right guard. Top of your screen, there it is. He's holding and impeding the progress of the defender, Tavion Coleman. And I like the plan of trying to run a screen against this aggressive front, but you need your offensive lineman to do a better job of stepping up and blocking people, facing them up. Please don't hold. In a game like today where yards are going to be a premium with this weather, can't afford to get off schedule.
Hobart's back to return the Mackenzie Ryan punt, trying to give him some good field position. Pretty short punt, and Texas State will have good field position when we return. It was ground and pound last time Texas State had the football. 9 plays, 9 runs, and a touchdown. We'll see what they try to do when we come back.
Walmart's massive Black Friday deals are here, but they won't last long. Get this Apple Watch for $149, this Hot Wheels set for $20, and so many more deals you desire. Shop Walmart Black Friday deals now through December 1st.
We love home internet from T-Mobile. Oh, now Mesh boosts Wi-Fi all over your home.
Oh. Get a free Amazon Fire TV when you switch to T-Mobile 5G home internet.
What's that sound?
This holiday season, get on board with the special Disney Plus Black Friday offer.
I want one.
Watch these classic holiday favorites, these uninvited guests.
Let's go.
These besties.
This just feels right.
And so many more wonderful presents. Come home for the holidays to Disney Plus. And right now, save big with our special Black Friday offer. Just $2.99 a month for 1 year of the Disney Plus and Hulu bundle.
7-0 start for Texas State on the road today in Monroe. Tioka Jackson, Jason Ross Jr. with you. Louisiana Monroe trying to get to bowl eligibility. Texas State trying to snap a 2-game skid. After a bye week, they were refreshed and ready to go. Last drive was a lot of running. They go back to that mentality here. 9 plays, 9 runs on that last drive, Tioka. You made a point about where they were going to.
Yeah, they're going right up the gut. And just pay attention to where these balls are hitting, up inside. That's a problem. If you give up 76 yards through the middle of your defense, that's an issue. Again, plenty of football left, but that's something ULM has got to get squared away.
We've seen 2 quarterbacks so far for Texas State. Jordan McLeod, who started the game, was a game-time decision. The Sun Belt's leader in touchdown passes, and Brad Jackson, the freshman from San Antonio, has come in as well. 3rd and 4 feels like a big one early for this Louisiana Monroe defense. See Mahdi on the sideline, star running back for Texas State. Jackson will keep it. Got brought down quickly by the ankles. Tristan Shorter got in there to make the contact, and this will be 4th down.
So listen, Brad Jackson is an athletic young quarterback. So what you're going to see is a lot of design runs. And if you're ULM, you've got to understand who's in the ball game and who's threatening you. Force this young quarterback to throw the football. I like crowding the line of scrimmage and getting to him in the backfield.
You wonder how much McLeod will throw today when he gets in. It'll be a punt for Texas State, so it feels like a big stop, especially on that part of the field for the Warhawks. Lars Rao with the punt. Wells lets it roll. And they couldn't quite keep that in. Or was Sparks able to down that before it got across the goal? And he did. A heck of a special teams play from Bo Sparks.
Well, that's a guy who understands the rules. He understands if I can control this football with 2 hands inside.
Recovered the kick prior to entering the end zone. 1st down inside the 1-yard line.
Yeah, this is beautiful. He establishes possession of this punt while in the field of play. That's it. That's all it takes. It just takes a nanosecond. If you've got control of the football, they're going to blow it dead right there. It couldn't be any better by Sparks.
Immediately put up the 1 to the refs.
Look at that.
I'm in.
Great shot by the camera folks. I mean, that is unbelievable job by Sparks, understanding the rule and executing it.
Sparks is a receiver. That was kind of a nice grab for him. The toe tap.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, great point.
Wow. I mean, it's plays like that that make subtle details, especially in this weather.
Because it's going to be about field position, right? And now you flip the field back the other way. You didn't get anything done offensively, but now you've pinned them down inside the 1. Got to be very careful now inside this 1. Ball security paramount.
Pinned back in some dangerous territory, and Texas State loves to bring the pressure. Let's see what the official signal here on the mark. They're going to say it'll be down at the 1.
Well, just like scoring a touchdown, Jason, you've got to get the ball out of the end zone. Even though half his body is still in, watch the ball cross the goal line. That's what matters most. And so, yeah, it was very close. Excellent job of getting penetration there. I like the wrap up. It's a really good job of wrapping it up. Just missed. But again, Alexander.
We go again. Deep breath. Louisiana Monroe crowd. They get a sliver of breathing room here. We're going to bring up 3rd and long for Hardy in this offense. It was Colt on the tackle.
Yeah, one of the many incarnate word transfers. Cope gets off the block. He's going to get up inside and be a box player for them. You'll see Jordan Polk doing the same thing. I like the idea of crowding the line of scrimmage. They know, we know, the Warhawks are not going to risk this ball on first and second down trying to throw it. Now, third down is a little different. Will they trust the young Aiden Armenta, to throw the football in this situation?
First timeout, Texas State. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Timeout called for Texas State. Don't forget, coming up at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on ABC and ESPN Plus. We'll be off to Oxford for number 3 Georgia and number 16 Ole Miss. Both of these SEC on ABC matchups. As the nightcap, the Death Valley featuring LSU hosting number 11 Alabama. Key when it comes to playoff hopes for all of these teams, especially when you look at Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss. So a fun day in the South and in this state. Baton Rouge, where we had game day this morning. We're going to see chance to make the college football playoff. These numbers could very well change tonight, depending on the outcome of this matchup here.
Yeah, that's to me a playoff eliminator.
Right.
Whoever loses that game, I don't think they can make a serious claim unless complete chaos happens the rest of the season. I don't think they can make a serious claim to get in.
The new 12-team playoff this year.
Jason, do you trust this young freshman here? In this situation, backed up inside the 1-yard line, taking a pistol snap, I got to run this football. No way I'm throwing it.
Now some movement up front.
False start. Offense number 80. Half the distance to the goal line. Remains third down.
It's the tight end, Nate Sullivan. Things getting a little antsy backed up here.
Yeah, and listen, you give up about a half a yard. Yeah. And I like idea here of hard counting. Again, you got a freshman, but hard count this defense. See if you can pick up an easy 5.
Will run it. Got pushed back, but we'll see where they mark the forward progress. We'll see Texas State put up the safety signs with forward progress marked at the 1, and now kind of feels like if you're a Louisiana Monroe fan, you're happy to just be punting this one away.
There's no doubt about it. But give a lot of credit now to this Texas State team. That's complimentary football. You had Bo Sparks make a tremendous play of downing that ball inside the 1-yard line. Now the defense does their job, doesn't give an inch, really. And so now you have the offense punting, the Warhawks punting from inside their end zone.
3 drives, 3 3-and-outs for Louisiana Monroe so far in this weather. And setting up in the plus side of the 50 now will be Texas State, as Hobart makes the fair catch at the 41 of Louisiana Monroe. So T.J. Kinney, again, mentioned he played QB for Tulsa. A slew of different assistant coaching jobs at 5 different schools from 2017 to 2021. Then head coach at Incarnate Word and the FCS Southland champions in 2022. Moves over to Texas State. Took the job December of 2022. And he was in a similar position to Bryant Vincent, head coach of Louisiana Monroe last year, entering a program that hadn't had much success historically, had struggled to make a bowl game and win one. They got to a bowl game last year, won it for the first time in program history. He's just a great guy to chat with. Again, he said we like to practice early in the morning, so we were ready for this 11 a.m. kickoff today as McLeod is back in at quarterback for him, but they stick with the running game. And on the left side, nobody saw Cole Wilson streaking down. They just used the misdirection on everyone.
Including me, because I thought that was a dive play up inside. Clearly, they threw that football out. Excellent ball handling right there. I can't wait to see this replay because I was looking at the wrong guy. I'm going to be honest with you right now.
It was 41 yards and nobody saw it.
So let's watch. Fake the dive, and now you've got basically a triple option, right? You have the ability to hand the football, run it, or throw it. That's an unbelievable read by Jordan McLeod. I love the call, testing the eye discipline of the defense. Execution was stellar.
Shout out to offensive coordinator Mac Leftwich. There, I mean, wow.
Oh, man.
It was quick. It took 8 seconds, though.
Yeah, and again, using multiple quarterbacks. There's McLeod. When McLeod's in the game, he can run it, but you got to be high alert for the throw. When Jackson's in, they're going to run the football mostly. There's got to be some adjustments now on the ULM sidelines to get this squared away.
Yeah, they said the play calling would be slightly different depending on who was in at QB today. We've seen 2. That the most lucrative pass play. And it was a short one that went long.
So this is about deception. Faking the run inside. Now you've got a free runner, and the defender is in a bind. And so I feel pretty bad right there for Carlin Vigors because he has to decide, do I come up and make the tackle on the quarterback, or do I stay with my man? If he stays back, I guarantee you McLeod's going around the corner and scores by himself. That's how you do it defensively, though. You put the defense in a bind where whatever decision they make is wrong, and give credit to McLeod for not missing a layup, throwing an easy, catchable football.
How much of that was the fact that the prior drive, every play was a run?
Yeah. When you run 12 straight, and we talked about it, 73 of that other drive was right up the middle, you have got to honor the dive play. And you're saying defensively, we have to stop the bleeding right now by stopping the run. As you talked about, beautiful call by offensive coordinator Mac Leftwich, though, understanding the defense will adjust, so I'm going to adjust.
Offensively for Louisiana Monroe, you've taken a punch early. You see G.J. Kinney on the sideline for Texas State. Fittingly, that was one of the incarnate word transfers that got the touchdown there in Cole Wilson. But you flip it over here to Louisiana Monroe. You've got 3 drives right now, 3 3-and-outs. How do you turn this around?
Well, just go back to your identity. We don't need to get it all back right now. It's just a 2-score game. Let's establish your running game. As you see incarnate word and how good they've been to this program. What's that, 10 guys? Yeah. I mean, that just shows you the talent that comes through that program.
Yeah, Cole Wilson being one of them who had the last touchdown. A 41-yard catch and run. So now, how does Armenta in this offense answer? Gonna roll out, got dragged down quickly by Dominique Ratcliffe on the pursuit.
So, to me, that play right now is not going to be as effective with that play action because you haven't really established the run.
Yep.
You have not been able to dominate the line of scrimmage sort of consistently, and so these linebackers are not going to respect it yet. I think you got to go back to this running game. Hardy's one of your best players. Let's see if you can get him going, and then that play action opens up for you.
Louisiana Monroe had the loss last week to Marshall, 5-point loss. They battled in that one, finding themselves down 14 here, going back to the bread and butter of their offense all season. Ahmad Hardy, who's over 800 yards in his true freshman year, leading all true freshmen in the country in rushing.
And he came in averaging 5.6. And so, you know, two rushes is a first down. Let's not get too cute. Let's remember who we are. We're a running football team. Go ahead and do that.
Still very early in the game.
So because of the negative play early, you're finding yourself now in 3rd and long situation. Let's see how young Armenta handles it.
0 for 3 on 3rd down. Armenta rolling out. If that ball was caught, it's short of the sticks. Jake Godfrey on the grab, but they may have to try it off the field again.
Yeah, and I think it's too early to go for it. This is not the area of the field that you want to do it. I like the idea of getting him on the move, though. Shorten down his reads, give him some easy stuff. And again, he hasn't gotten established yet. He hasn't gotten into a rhythm. Give him some easy throws rolling out. The problem was the first down negative play got him off schedule.
Mackenzie Ryan's been a little too busy for his liking today. Former rugby player. As this clock winds down in the opening quarter, they're going to fake this, try to get some momentum going. I'm not sure they got it, Tioka. Don't think they did. Khalil Alexander got in. They got in there first. So trying to turn the tide on the final play of the first quarter, and instead, G.J. Kinney and this Texas State sideline is fired up, and they're going to set up shop with incredible field position to open the second quarter. Really a dream start on the road for a Texas State team that dropped a couple games in a row. Tried to go for the fake on the punt, did not work out. Momentum completely in favor of Texas State. (14-0) start for Texas State after that fake punt. Second straight drive beginning inside of ULM territory.
Snap infraction. Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So a rare blemish on really a super clean start for Texas State.
You talked about it. This starts, man. This is how they drown people.
Yeah.
Fast starts, up 14-0. This is the blueprint for wins usually. Plenty of football left, though.
Outscoring teams 92-27 in the first quarter entering today. Adding on to those numbers. Oh, what a bounce off the initial contact from Mahdi. So he just caught up with Mahdi's head coach, G.J. Kinney, moments ago. Well, GJ, great start for your team. Then end of the quarter there, you're able to get the stop on their fake punt attempt. What's the momentum like on your sideline right now?
Yeah, I think the juices are high right now. I think we're executing at a high level. Got some unexpected carries from a true freshman quarterback and a number 88, Deion Hankins, so it was fun to see.
Well, Coach, congrats on the good start.
Appreciate you.
They go back to the ground again. Hankins lowering the shoulder. He did that earlier all the way to the end zone on that drive that had 9 plays, all runs for 76 yards. It was the first touchdown. Second one, if you weren't with us, was a 41-yard run and catch from Cole Wilson.
Deion Hankins, I was not familiar with your work. I'm becoming familiar now.
Familiar with his game now and his shoulder.
But here's the thing, though. As Coach mentioned, we got the run game going from the quarterback. Obviously, Mahdi has been terrific, and now you're adding Hankins in. What does that mean? The offensive line. It doesn't matter who's carrying the football. They've got room to run because of the domination up front from this veteran group.
I mean, it was a group that felt like they were refreshed, ready to go, hadn't played since October 29th, lost that game against Louisiana by 6. Brad Jackson in at QB now as they make a swap. We've seen him and McLeod today. Jackson mostly keeping it, keeps it again here, wants the edge on a cutback, got inside the 5 before running into Corey and Wilson.
See, at this point, if I'm defensive coordinator Ernest Hill of the Warhawks, I'm saying when 8's in the game, we're checking to our best run defense. We're gonna get out of whatever the call was, and when he's in the game, we're playing run. And we're gonna sell out to the run, force him to throw the football, get 8 defenders up at the line of scrimmage because we now know what they're doing.
First and goal. It's Jackson in again. He'll keep it again patiently, but then dragged down by Wydett Williams, a guy who we talked to yesterday, leading their team in tackles with 64 on the season now.
Yeah, he had a career-high 11 against South Alabama earlier this year, but aggressive. This is a guy who's a very aggressive safety. And again, I'm taking a look at, if I'm Waddell, I'm saying when 8's in, I'm going to shoot my gun right now and go get him. I am not going to sit back and wait. I would be expecting number 8 will meet number 12 a lot as this game goes on.
Local guy Williams grew up an hour away.
Now McLeod's back in the game. Now you're playing a different defense, Jason.
McLeod keeps it himself, has a runway to the end zone to waltz in. A dream start on the road for Texas State continues.
This is all Mac Leftwich. He's hearing me and adjusting, right? He's always one step ahead so far in this game, a step ahead of the defense and a step ahead of me. So you spread the defense out, and now you go quarterback run, and in that situation, you're going to be one man short in the box. You can't account for the quarterback run. McLeod has been the guy who's basically been throwing. You run him inside the red zone. Unbelievable call by Leftwich.
Taoka, you were up and ready. You sent me a text at 6:30 a.m. in the hotel gym. You were getting juiced up.
Yes,
Clearly,
sir.
Texas State was up pretty early with you. Getting the warm-up in, and it was a good warm-up. Up 21-0. Jordan McLeod, the latest to find the end zone for Texas State, trying to get back in the win column.
And see, that early penetration is stopping the run game of the Warhawks. But again, ball security, we talked about it. In this rain, young players have to understand I have to be more cognizant of holding the football. It's not business as usual. I got to really squeeze the ball, keep it high and tight, or it will come out.
It's been a miserable day so far in this weather for Louisiana Monroe. That time, first time you get a first down, first time you get in plus territory, you get some help from Texas State with the penalties as well. You get your first good passing chunk, and then it all goes away with the ball security in this weather. Rain is really coming down today. Quick tackle. They handed it off, but getting up there promptly to make the play is David Anderson. Loss of 3.
Nice job of getting upfield. Again, penetration now from the ULM defense. But, you know, back to these turnovers. What's interesting is the turnover margin for Texas State was really bad coming in.
Right.
They were -5 on the season. They're +3 on this game. That's how you go on the road and put yourself in position to win early.
And it was only the second lost fumble this season for Louisiana Monroe.
Wow.
McLeod looking pretty comfortable back there because he knows his running backs can get yards after the catch.
Yeah.
Put him in the passing game. It's Mahdi. Whitehead Williams on the tackle.
I'm so impressed with this number 12 Williams. We talked to him. A lot of fun to talk to him. Look at him come up and making a play in space. You see that contact? A lot of guys get real nervous when they're in open field. I better just do what I got to do to get him down. No, he's in great position, great balance, and still has enough to lay a hit on the ball carrier.
Coach has just said he's always around the football. Sets up 3rd and 7, trying to get the ball back if you're the Warhawks with still a little over 7 minutes to go. 3 timeouts and the 2-minute timeout, and they get into the backfield. Jalen Ware, they call him the heart of the defense.
Yeah, well, the pressure starts with number 28, David Anderson, and he misses it, but what I like is his teammate Jalen Ware cleans it up. So rushing the passer is about groups. You get one penetrator. If he misses, here comes the next guy. Great job of getting off the field defensively for the Warhawks in a possession they really needed to get off.
Devon Wells back to return the punt from Lars Rao. So now again, you still got time to try to atone for that last possession. It was a low snap there. Rao got it away, the freshman, and a fair catch at the 30. So Louisiana Monroe in desperate need of points on their home field. Armenta comes back out when we come back. Well, Louisiana Monroe hired Bryant Vincent in the offseason, a job that he loves. Warhawks lost 9 starters on offense, 7 on defense from last year, added 73 new faces. A process started very quickly after Bryant Vincent was hired in December. In less than 2 weeks, they brought in 17 junior college transfers, 13 four-year transfers, number of additions on National Signing Day in February, then 27 new faces during the spring signing day period. Just a lot of chemistry building. He told all of them, we have a mission here to make history, to win a bowl game for the first time in program history, to turn the tide around. One winning season in the last 20 years. Got off to a 5-1 start this year, going with some trickery. Wells has it on the end around, trying to cut it back, and got a good chunk there on 1st and 10. So going to some misdirection with this offense now. Vincent calls the plays, and Trez Moore made the tackle.
Well, that's a big play, and why do I say that? Because they had only been averaging 2 yards on 1st down before that. And when you're that inefficient on 1st down, it leads to being 0 for 4 on 3rd down. So they needed to dial up something to give them a drive starter on 1st down. Great job by Davon Wells getting as much as he can get.
They'd like for it to be, as we talked about, maybe a dirty 3, but that maybe you got to go a little tricky 3.
No doubt.
Here, tricky
whatever,
7.
Whatever it takes at this point. Down 3 scores.
They tried to go for a fake punt, didn't get it inside of their own 50. Up the gut there. That looks a bit more like this offense we've seen throughout the year with Ahmad Hardy leading the way. 18-year-old true freshman. Landry made the tackle.
See, this penetration, Jason, is starting to affect his run game. Watch the front side. If he keeps that, there's a hole there. What are you cutting back for? See, I think he's so used to now getting early penetration, he's cutting back before he has to. He has to stay patient and press the hole. That's something we talked to with head coach Bryant Vincent. He's learning to press the hole before he cuts it back. That time he didn't do it and didn't get as much as he could have.
Interesting change at quarterback on 3rd and 1. It's Hunter Herring who comes in. Monroe native.
Louisiana transfer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
In-state. Whistles before the snap. Was there a timeout called?
Dead ball foul generally against the offense.
Prior to the snap, timeout ULM.
Oh.
This would be a full time on the field.
Well, they're trying to fool us with the flag, Jason.
Yeah. 5:42 to go. Some pressure in that Bryant Vincent huddle right now. Taoka, the parents love a good splashing in the punt this type of day.
No, they don't. I guarantee you they're not happy because their seats on the ride home are going to be
soaked.
Nasty. Right.
Well, it's still Hunter Herring in here at QB on 3rd and 1. They primarily use him as a runner. Got 14 carries on the year, a couple of touchdowns. Really good athlete. He keeps it. Got cut down. Still keeping the pile going there. He only needed about a yard. Max Harris tried to stop him, but they're going to move the chains.
Well, that was basically a lead play for a quarterback. You're faking a dive, but it's not really a dive. Watch the initial runner become a lead blocker. Now, that's just I formation power up the field. And, again, 6'5", 225-pound quarterback. That's the guy you want to do it with, talking about Herring.
Armenza pulls.
Got him.
First deep shot. Might have Wells. Oh, they had him. Ball was overthrown, and that was the best look of the day in the passing game.
Well, listen, head coach Brian Vincent said that there were going to be some opportunities downfield. The way defensively Texas State plays, they jump some things, and they leave their back half exposed. And they thought he'd have some opportunities, and that was one of them. You just can't miss them when you get the opportunities. You're down 3 scores. You don't get great opportunities. We got guys running wide open down the seam. I guarantee you, Mr. Armenta wishes he had that one back.
Yeah, that was it right there. Best look of the day in the passing game to a really speedy receiver, and Wells couldn't connect. Go back to second down, ground game. Terry Webb got there first on the tackle. Max Harris in the midst as well. So now, what do you look at here on third down?
Well, it's third down and medium. Well, third and long, excuse me. And so that takes away a lot of your options. But here's the thing. In this area of the field, down 3 scores, do you think it's 4-down territory? And if you do, I'm coming back with a run. Because if you get yourself the 5 yards that Hardy's been averaging all year, that'll set you up for a fourth and makeable situation.
We'll see. They opt to throw it to the sideline, one-on-one. Incomplete, juggled by Cole. Really good coverage from Trez Moore.
Yeah, Moore was right where he needed to be. And that's where you'd like to see a back shoulder. Try to get Artis Cole on a back shoulder throw where he can stop, come back, and catch that football. 50-50 against the sidelines is not very efficient because that sidelines becomes the extra defender, especially when Moore is in perfect position.
So they'll have to punt. You're a Texas State fan now. You're still looking at 4:15, the 2-minute timeout, and 2 timeouts.
Oh, there's an old rule in football, Jason. Never have enough points. You never can score enough, especially in the first half. You can best believe Texas State will be aggressive.
Well, Texas State in this opening half already has more points in each of the games they scored the last couple of outings, which were both losses. You look at the Old Dominion game and Louisiana game, held under 20 in both games as Hobart tried to return that and then got hit promptly, dragged back to about the 10. The last couple of games between these teams have been thrillers, each decided by a point. Today, Texas State jumping out ahead very early on. Come from behind wins have kind of been the name of the game. 2 years ago, Texas State jumped out to a 21-0 lead before the end of the first quarter. At the time, ULM QB Chandler Rogers was able to rally the Warhawks. You look at that 1-point win, 31-30. They're hoping for some similar magic today at this point than last season. It was Louisiana Monroe that led 20-9. In the fourth quarter, pretty late in the fourth quarter. But then the comeback started in San Marcos. And ultimately it was a 21-20 victory. Texas State QB at the time, TJ Finley, was able to lead the rally. And now getting up the middle, this is the worst starting field position so far for Texas State. Brad Jackson back in the game. So the ground game with Hankins now. He had the big run earlier of 47 yards.
Again, their tendency to run the football with Jackson in the game has not changed. You've got to find a way to bow your neck and play run defense when number 8's in the game. And then when McLeod comes in, you got to play straight up defense because you can run it or throw it. But there's no way I'm going to continue to allow them to run the football with number 8 in. I'm going to crowd the line of scrimmage and force him to have to throw the football because it's clear they don't want to do that with him in the game.
At this point, it's almost felt like give Brad Jackson a series, then McLeod gets a series, then Jackson gets a series.
And it's working.
Yep. Jackson keeps it. Got hit, trying to move a pile. It's the Louisiana Monroe team playing on this home field for the first time since October 12th. Brad Jackson, a part of a statement early from a Texas State offense that has really played and catered well to this weather. Jackson was a guy who they had circled in the recruiting process, was on campus in the spring. They saw clips of him on Twitter. He was a 4-star recruit.
Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes and 58 seconds. The play clock should be set at 40 seconds. Thank you.
Pretty local guy, too, in San Antonio, not far from San Marcos, where Texas State is located.
And listen, Jason, 7 plays for Jackson, all runs. All right, so, I mean, we don't have to guess anymore, right? We don't have to play like we don't know. Force him to do something else.
One of the most electric offenses in the country the last 2 years. Nice little haul in there. Hobart, then it came out, but rolls over to the sideline.
And so, again, clearly they're listening to our broadcast, and Leftwich decides to switch it up. But you see the type of throw it was, though, Jason?
Forward fumble out of bounds. Ball's returned to the spot on the fumble.
Caught it, made a football move.
No doubt.
Completion.
No doubt about it.
But luckily out of bounds.
Yep. No question about it. And that's a great tackle, by the way, by Corian Wilson, putting his hat right on the ball. But again, play man coverage, crowd the line of scrimmage when number 8's in. He's not in now. Now you can play your base defense and match up with personnel because McLeod can do either one.
They bring 5 on the pressure. McLeod throws complete. Should be a first down for Hobart. He will move the chains. A huge job to advance the ball there and not allow what could have been pretty good field position had Louisiana Monroe got the stop and forced a punt.
Yeah, we talked to Wydett Williams about Hobart. You know, how really productive he is and what makes him so good. And they said he's got great hands. First of all, he's got great quickness, but he wanted to get really aggressive with him and physical with him. Nice job of getting him on the ground there.
We've hit the 2-minute timeout. That was the 32nd now straight game with a catch for Joey Hobart.
Amelia, turn off alarm. Amelia, weather?
70 degrees and sunny today.
Amelia, unlock the door.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Jen.
Why not?
Did you forget something?
My protein shake.
The future isn't scary. Not investing in it is.
You're so dramatic, Amelia.
Bye, Jen.
100 innovative companies, 1 ETF. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
Y'all see this? Patrick Mahomes is saying goodbye. People was tripping.
Where are you going?
He was actually saying goodbye to his old phone.
I'm switching to the amazing new iPhone 16 with T-Mobile.
It's the first iPhone built for Apple Intelligence. That's like peanut butter on jelly on gold. Get 4 iPhone 16s on us. Plus 4 lines for $25. And save on every plan versus the other big guys. What a deal. That's a lot if you ask me. If y'all giving it away too fast, T-Mobile, slow down.
21-0. Texas State up with 2 minutes to go. And their offense out on the field after the 2-minute timeout, which is new to college football this year and advantageous for Texas State in this situation. We're looking at possibly a rare throw there from Jackson. Instead, he keeps it. Got dragged down from behind by Billy Pullen, who has been excellent off the edge all season for Louisiana Monroe. The dark alley guy, yes, I'd like to point out.
And they really got a lot of respect for this guy. He's the big brother of the defense, they say. Playing that jack linebacker position. So he's a hybrid edge defender on the line. Linebacker, can drop back in coverage. Showed me the ability to change direction and lay out and make a play on a quarterback who's been running well today.
Yeah, team leading 5 sacks this year. G.J. Kinney feeling pretty good about this start on the road after they had some time off.
Lost his helmet. By rule, that is subject to a 10-second deduction. Texas State does not want the 10-second deduction. The clock will start on the snap.
All right, so as you heard there, they consulted with Coach Kinney and opted not to want the deduction, so they'll go back to work with 1:52 to go smartly.
Yeah,
not taking the deduction.
Texas State's trying to score.
Exactly. Well, they keep it here. Found a lane for Jackson, and he's motoring his way ahead. Now they're moving quickly after the gain of 17.
Well, he showed me some speed there coming around that corner, Jason.
Yeah, it was some track star acceleration there.
And this read option is assignment football. You've got to have a guy on a dive and the quarterback every single play. Alignment and assignment, or they will bleed you to death with this run game.
Patient run from Lincoln Perry. First time we've seen him today. Transfer from Arkansas State, one Sun Belt team to another.
Again, we talked about it doesn't really matter who the ball carrier is when the offensive line is playing this well.
They throw it to the near side. Really good adjustment there. Cole Wilson, who had the 41-yard touchdown run earlier, able to make the grab. And now you were talking about points. They're thinking points.
No doubt about it. Love the way Wilson worked back to that football, though, Jason. If he doesn't work back to the ball, that's probably a pass breakup or worse. Came out of his break, working back to the ball. Nice hands catch.
It's a deep receiving core. They're knocking on the door now. Stepping up. Room to run here. And Jackson will pull and scoot his way out of bounds smartly with under a minute to go. On this opening half clock, gain a 15-second run on this drive for Jackson of 15 or more.
This is a true freshman. Look at the decision. So often in a situation like this, true freshmen get happy feet and aren't very decisive. I'm seeing Brad Jackson be very decisive, and that decision-making is allowing his athleticism to shine through.
G.J. Kinney's face lit up when we asked him, hey, can you introduce us to Brad Jackson a little bit? What should we expect from him? And this is why his face lights up when he talks about Brad Jackson, just a true freshman. Sling it out this time. Rare throw for him. Cole Wilson got a block there on the outside from Jaden Williams. Randall able to knock him out of bounds. Getting out of bounds.
Let's understand who's on the sidelines. Jordan McLeod was the Sun Belt Conference Offensive Player of the Year last year.
Right, at James Madison.
And he's healthy enough to be in uniform and play, but they're going with Jackson.
49 seconds left. Got out of bounds again, still with the 2 timeouts. And inside of the red zone again. To the end zone, they want Wilson. Ball slightly off the mark with David Gotze in on the coverage.
Yeah, just not on the same page. Looks like he was looking for the corner route, talking about Jackson. He's thrown that to the corner, and Wilson is cutting this route off short. So no idea who's wrong in that situation, but clearly Wilson, being as young as he is, not having the amount of reps with his receivers, showed up in a negative way right there.
Got 3 receivers here on 3rd and 7. Pressure comes. Jackson keeps it. Slipped a tackle that dives inside of the 5. And this will bring up 1st and goal.
My goodness.
I mean, wow.
Yeah, and you can take your time here. 39 seconds. No need to be in any rush with 2 timeouts. Get your play and go, but you don't have to be in a hurry. I like how they're doing it here. So this is no huddle, Jason, but it's not hurry up.
Allowing the substitution here.
And this is fine. In a situation like this, normally offensively wants to get this ball snapped. Yet fine here with this much time.
Clock ticking at 15 to the ground and to the end zone. Texas State has put a full imprint on this opening half. They have 2 different quarterbacks with rushing touchdowns in this game. Brad Jackson adds to the bunch.
And again, it's the quarterback lead. You're putting the offensive player coming around and becoming a lead blocker. So you've got a puller, that's a lead blocker, and then you've got the guy in a tailback position as the second lead blocker. So that's sort of like a power eye out of that formation. Great game plan and execution. So far, so good.
I don't think many people expected this. Both teams coming off back-to-back losses. Both teams were fired up for this matchup. Weather has played a role, certainly hurt UL Monroe, more so than Texas State. But, I mean, some people were even thinking that the weather might favor Louisiana Monroe.
Yep.
But instead, no, it's really favored the style of offense that Texas State has brought and the versatility of this team on display. You see here, I mean, the reps are about even right now for both of these guys.
And look at the efficiency. I mean, 4 or 5 and 3 or 4. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Combined 7 of 9, and you see the touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Right? That's the most important part. So they're taking care of the football when the weather says you might have some balls on the ground. But at the end of the day, the offensive line and these backs, with their physicality, has really taken over the game. And now it makes it a lot.
State is now wearing number 91. Number 18 is now wearing number 91.
Got that squared away, but now it just makes it a lot easier game to call if you're Mac Leftwich because your offensive line is controlling things.
Texas State had a 2-2 start. The 2 losses each came by 3 points or less against Arizona State and Sam Houston. They felt like they should have started 4-0 this year. Then you got the back-to-back losses against Louisiana and Old Dominion. The difference is they've gotten back to those first quarter numbers today. led into the second quarter. And now for our Fansville College Football Update, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. You see around the Sun Belt here, Thursday action, Coastal taking down App State. Feels like it's always a fun matchup when those teams get together. And you got the battle for Sun Belt West here again in this division. Arkansas State and Louisiana, 5 Eastern time on ESPN+. That's a huge matchup to keep an eye on in this division. Aiden Armenta back in the game at QB. What could be the final play of the half. A disappointing first half for the Warhawks.
Yeah, they can't get into the locker room fast enough. I'm telling you that right now.
It was a passionate pregame speech from Bryant Vincent. But to start, whatever DJ Kinney said to his team, it's worked. Doesn't matter the conditions. Early start didn't matter for the Bobcats. McLeod, Jackson, both doing work on the road, trying to pick up a huge Sun Belt victory. Welcome back to the All-State Saturday kickoff. Monroe, Louisiana, our location. So far, a one-sided matchup. Texas State really shocking everyone around the Sun Belt. Most people thought this could be a really competitive game coming in. Still a half to go. Welcome you back inside of the booth. Jason Ross Jr., Tioka Jackson with you. Tioka, we were amped up for this one coming in. It's the style with which Texas State has literally put their imprint, their foot on this game. It's kind of been shocking.
Hey, very physical. And not a whole lot of trickery, although that was the one right there where they sort of faked the pass, or faked the run, excuse me, and got an easy play action. Everything else is I'm going to bloody your nose at the line of scrimmage, and I don't think there's anything you can do about it. And that's the type of game that ULM likes generally, but so far today, the Texas State, the entire team, offensively and defensively up front, has controlled the line of scrimmage, and that's allowed them to do whatever they wanted offensively.
That was Brad Jackson. McLeod also had a running touchdown, so you've seen 2 different QBs for Texas State. And the stats you see here, of course, dominant. I want to point out the one time UL Monroe also got inside of Texas State territory, they fumbled. So that weather has not played in their favor. So get this second half underway here at Malone Stadium.
So right now, if you're the Warhawks, you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do now? How do we come out and what adjustments we need to make? Offensively, I think it has to be an attitude adjustment. I think offensively, we have to say, okay, listen, we've got an offensive line that is a veteran group. We're going to challenge you guys to stop the leaky line of scrimmage. We've got a dynamic young running back who has not been able to show his wares today. Let's see if we can establish a run game. Once we do that, the passing game will become a lot easier for my freshman quarterback.
That's Aiden Armenta, who followed his head coach Bryant Vincent from New Mexico. Go to the air, quick dart on the opening play of the second half. That ball hopped up in the air, and what should be a catch for Devon Wells.
And there's a tempo change, which I do like. But even the easy play has been hard today. He almost dropped it. That ball was almost on the ground, Jason. So even the easy stuff has come hard because they haven't been able to establish any kind of rhythm, either throwing or running.
Louisiana Monroe, a program that started the season 5-1. They were picked to win 1.5 games this year entering the season. Picked as number 134 out of 134 in college football. People thought this was going to be the worst program in the country, but they got off to an excellent start. A lot of that behind the legs of the man carrying the ball right now, Ahmad Hardy. However, Tioka, since they've gotten to 5-1, they've lost a couple in a row. Trying to get bowl eligible has been where they've been a little stuck.
Yeah, and right now you can't be thinking about anything else except for taking care of business in this situation right now. And did you see, again, the body language right there of Hardy? I saw a little bit of an attitude adjustment in terms of how he ran that football. That was, again, outside zone, but cut it back inside. That's the first time they've run the outside zone the way ULM runs the outside zone.
They go back to the grounds. This defense for the Bobcats has been ready. Tavian Coleman. It's a defensive line without Stephen Parker as well today. A guy with 5 sacks on the season, but it's been next man up for a defense that rotates a lot.
Stephen Parker out. Lange, another backup defensive end out. But it's just been next man up. They play a lot of guys anyway, so this is not out of character for them. The next guy's up. They're playing well. got to have backups that play like starters when they need to.
Their linebacker, Max Harris, told us we don't consider ourselves 1s, 2s, and 3s. We just have 3 different base groups. Little fake here, then they dish it out to the edge to Godfrey. He gets dragged down, out of bounds.
Trying to test the eye discipline of this Bearcat defense. The ball handling was pretty, but it didn't fool anybody. And so now you get nothing on first down, which has gotten them in trouble time and time again in the first half. You got to be really efficient, get positive yards on second to set yourself up for third, because they have been atrocious on third down today.
They're 1 for 6. Had 3 and outs in their first 4 drives in this game. See if they can get 10 here to keep it moving. Armenta on the crossing route. He's able to find Artis Cole. They pick up about 14 on 3rd and 10.
Boy, do they need that. Just a simple slant route, but it's against off coverage. And so now, will the ball be on time and on target? Because he has room. And the answer was yes. Let's see if that allows Aiden Armenta to get into a little bit of a rhythm and get his confidence up, because it's going to have to take some throwing mixed in with this run to come back.
15, 10, and 15-yard gains here on this drive, trying to keep it rolling. You know, the pregame speech from Brian Vincent, head coach for ULM, was passionate. You wonder what that halftime speech was like.
Oh, no question. It was some passion involved. Might have been some choice words involved. But the attitude adjustment had to change. Forget about the scoreboard. They didn't play ULM football. Let's be honest, in the first half, especially offensively. Defensively, it started slow, played better as it went on, but they didn't get any help from the other side of the ball. And I just like, again, the body language of these guys coming out in black jerseys offensively. It's a little bit different. Let's see if they can sustain this now.
Another fake, but Armenta ran right into trouble. Ran into a brick wall in the form of Bryce Bass.
So you're trying to catch the defense slipping.
Wow.
But the problem is you had Bryce Bass lined up in a 9 technique on the outside for this very tight play. So sometimes you try to dial it up thinking you're going to get one look defensively and you don't get the look you want. And then it comes to, can the defender, the unblocked defender, make the play? And Bass says, yes, I can.
5th TFL for Texas State. Game plan's been pretty good.
That's what they do, though, Jason. I mean, they're one of the top teams in America at getting TFLs. And it sets up now a 3rd and long.
They look so locked in. Armenta, they got 15 yards last time on 3rd and long. Can they get some here after the catch? Now you start to wonder if it's already 4-down territory early on in this 3rd quarter as they flip it out to Tyler Griffin, Statesboro, Georgia native on the catch.
And that offense is staying on, but I want to see Griffin get the ball and get upfield. Understanding the situation, we need to get as much as we can to set us up for a better 4th down. We went a little too laterally that time right there.
Brian Vincent
taking their time now. They're getting deep into this play clock. I wonder. Under 10 now.
Yeah. It's at 3. Down to 2 when they get the snap off. Armenta will step up. Dishes late, and that is hauled in. A great grab in traffic. Wesley Campbell able to make the catch.
That was the play that was not being made in the first half. These tough catches were ending up with the ball on the ground. First of all, I love the job of keeping the play alive, extending it, getting outside the pocket, and finding not an open man, really a covered guy, but just believes in his arm. And that's a good job by Campbell, the 5th, or 6th actually. Wesley Campbell, the 6th, going up and getting it.
They want 6 on this drive.
That's exactly right. 6'4", he used every inch of it there.
Armenta to the air again, quickly again, to Campbell again, incomplete. I mean, Brian Vincent, he describes himself as an old school guy, and he said if we can't bring toughness, then who are we? And that was a tough catch.
Yeah. And they love the toughness of Armenta. They talked about his leadership skills. You don't often talk about a freshman and their leadership skills. Generally, it's their talent, and maybe they work hard and they're picking up. They talked about his leadership skills, and that's one of the best things he does. And he'll get better and better with more and more reps.
53 yards on this drive. They had 57 in the entire first half. 11th play of the drive. Armenta eludes the initial trouble. Another late throw, another catch. just improvising now. Julian Nixon on the receiving end.
You and I talked about it during the half. They just haven't been able to get in a rhythm. They haven't had enough positive plays that they can feel comfortable running or throwing. This drive is starting to happen. Couple big catches. Couple jobs of getting out of the pocket and making some plays by Armenta. Nice little runs up inside by Hardy.
To your point, it's the first red zone trip of the day. Hardy eluding tacklers. A little extra dive down at the 1. The ball came out. They had a fumble earlier. Who has it here? Nixon is the man in the pile for Monroe. They're still fighting for it. Trez Moore in there for Texas State. And the wrestling match will conclude with Louisiana Monroe keeping possession.
Let's see what brought that ball out. Got to keep that ball high and tight.
Fumble recovered by the offense
now
at the 1 yard line.
The question is, was he down before that ball came out? He's got control of it there. Well, no, that's out. That ball's out, and that's a great job by Max Harris of punching it out. It's not going to come out on his own. Look at Harris. Physical with his hands. That ball squirts right on out, right just before he hits the ground.
And Max Harris playing against his former team. He played for ULM last year.
Think he's not fired up?
So now, knocking on the door again. Can they finally crack open the door? They do. It's Hardy. His 8th rushing touchdown of the season.
This is a young man, Jason, who came on this campus and was last on the depth chart when he reported, and quickly rose up because of how he runs. We talked about his violence, but he's got outstanding quickness and vision. You saw a nice cut back there inside the goal line to get 6.
So Max Larson, the extra point. And now for UL Monroe, chipping away. Got to start to think, okay, got to stop them making a 2-possession game.
Hardy running with his eyes open. Beautiful cut back on that outside zone. And that looks like the ULM offense that we saw all week.
Welcome back. 28-7 Texas State. 7:48 to go in this third quarter. Bryant Vincent's team is on the board now. Start to think, get a stop and get another score, get a stop and get another score, and you can get back in this game. Weather has cleared up significantly from the opening half as Wilson brings that out to about the 26. Well, time now for our player check-in presented by Allstate. And I mean, Brad Jackson is a guy who not many people around the country knew about entering today. Weren't sure if the starting QB Jordan McLeod would be ready to go. Saw R.J. Martinez in their last game. But Jackson, those 70 yards outdid the opponent in the entire first half.
No question. And it's 70 yards of rushing, 84 total yards, only 57 for ULM in the first half. You said we didn't know who he was. Well, these are his first touches of the season, right? So no one knew who he was. But we're becoming familiar as we watch. Outstanding job by the freshman in the first half.
Not sure if I've ever had an announcer jinx on the weather, Teoko. Right after I say that, this rain really starts to come down again. Bouncing it to the outside. Traver Randall on the tackle there, making the initial contact with Hankins, who has been an excellent second solution at running back today for Texas State.
5th-year senior. We didn't know who he was, but he's been around. But he's showing me something today. He's been a low, too, 230 pounds, a little bit different than Marty, who's a $185.
Only the 3rd game this season Texas State has played outside of the state of Texas. Flip it, that ball bobbled. Oh, that could have been a game-changing play from Carl Funcheroy. Nearly into the hands of the DB, who has an interception on the season. Couldn't get a second there. And he came close.
Look at him. Yes, Fontroy climbed the ladder. And we talked about this defense needs to steal some possessions. This was your chance right there. Never saw him. Jackson never saw him. He's in the throwing lane. You make that play. My goodness.
And would have set up, knocking on the red zone door.
You got to clear that right away because you're still in good shape defensively.
You're right. Big 3rd and 7 coming up here. Really big 3rd and 7 in the course of this football game.
Got to be smart if you're Brad Jackson with this ball.
Jackson slings it. Good block set up here. And Hobart, one of their best guys with yards after the catch, brought down by Williams Jr. There is a flag down at the 31-yard line. And we'll see what this flag is for. It's going to be big.
Illegal block on the back. Offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
So that's the block you mentioned, Jace. That's Chase Todd. You talk about outstanding block. Watch you see the center. That's a center getting out there on the perimeter. And, man, I have seen worse. Technically, yes. Did he give him a push in the back? Yeah, I'm okay with that. But generally, you'd like to see a defender affected a little bit more to draw that flag. That's a tough situation. I will say, smart by the defender, when he realized what was happening, turned his back to make sure that Chase was blocking him in the back, and then, you know, that drew the flag.
G.J. Kinney's team, one of 8 in the FBS, to start the same 5 on the O-line in every game. Rolling out is Jackson directing traffic on 3rd and 15. That was batted down. Traver Randall, as UL Monroe fans took another deep breath thinking, oh, can we get an interception here? But they do get the turnover on that.
And that's Randall playing that star position. Again, you can make plays in this defense. Gets in a zone drop, and he climbs the ladder now and makes a play on that ball. A lot tougher play to come up with that, but he's playing zone. So he's the underneath defender, and they got the safety help over the top. Makes an extremely tough throw, especially on the run for Brad Jackson.
Yeah, punt, beg your pardon here. So now going back to boot this one away will be Lars Rau on 4th and 15 with 6:35 to go in the third. Just a really big stop from the Warhawks defense. Fair catch made by Devon Wells. Now some pretty good field position here after the 43-yard punt. Can UL Monroe make this a 2-possession game? Start chipping away. Next week, the Monday Night Football crew will be in LA for our Week 10 Monday Night Football matchup. Tua, Tyreek, and the Dolphins take on Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, and the Rams at SoFi. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. So now this last drive, what's your key word for it, Sayoko?
Rhythm. They were able to establish a rhythm first with the run. And look at the tough running by the freshman. And then that allowed the passing game to show up. And now you're starting to play complementary football, running and throwing the ball. It's amazing how the attitude changed, helped get them into a rhythm. And let's see if they can do it now with the second drive of the second half.
They made the big plays on 3rd and long in the last drive. James Jones, the running back here. Armenta also hit 6 different receivers on that last drive. Really the first time the passing game got going in a rhythm. It was the first time they got in the red zone. James Neal, the tackle there.
If I'm Texas State now, defenders, I'm looking at ourselves and say, listen, we were able to dominate the first half. There's 2 halves to this game. Let's go now be ourselves. This game is far from over. We need to get back to getting penetration in this run game, trampling the run on the way to the quarterback. We get that established again, we can get this thing back under control.
They'll fake it, they'll pitch it to the outside for Jones, who has the first down. Balletic balance along the sideline, stepped out. Boy, he may have been looking at the end zone, and he kept the balance just a little tighter there with 5:45 to go in the third. There is a flag down, though.
A lot of fresh legs right now, but look at the perimeter blocking. I love the job of blocking by Nate Sullivan. Did a great job without holding. I don't believe he got a held there, even though we got a flag. I'm not sure who it's on, but be shocked if it gets
There's no
number
foul
8.
for holding. Result of the play is the first down.
Yeah, see, I mean, that's just really good football. Moving your feet, not being lazy and grabbing. He faced up the defender, got his hands inside and moved his feet. And you don't have to get him to the ground, Jason, especially in space. Just wall him off and let Jones do the rest.
Both coaches talked about taking punches the last couple of weeks and getting up off the mat. Can Louisiana Monroe get up off the mat in this third quarter here? Keep this momentum going. Nice dump off. Grab made by Nate Sullivan. Trying to move tacklers aside. Out of bounds. James Neal, another tackle, but they're moving ahead again.
So we talked about that highlight package being about rhythm. Well, listen, Brian Vincent is getting in the rhythm now. The head coach is also the play caller. He's getting in the rhythm with the plays because he's starting to get confidence because the run game was established. His offensive line was able to get pushing on his defensive line. That opens up the playbook.
They've got 79 in passing yards in this quarter. They had 29 in all of the first half combined.
Wow. Same guys, right? Same defense.
Same team. Same head coach Bryant Vincent there.
The attitude adjustment and then the execution from the offensive line. That's been the difference.
You also told me Aiden Armenta really couldn't find a rhythm in the opening half.
Couldn't establish himself. It's hard to do that as a young quarterback, any quarterback. You don't get in a rhythm. Every play is like its own adventure. Now he's starting to feel it. Game is slowing down right now.
He'll keep it, and they got the deception. Throw the Texas State defense off guard there. And a first down.
We talked about the option play being assignment football. If you don't have someone take the quarterback, it's going to be a problem with option because now he can either run it or pitch it. And you're very unsure of yourself defensively in that secondary because nobody took the quarterback. And you can best believe there will be a pass off that, Jason, coming later on.
They've got Hardy back in the game at running back. Into the red zone they go.
Ooh, big
he
hit.
Gets hit at the 16, hard pads popping. James Neal in there again, wreaking havoc along with Alexander.
Second down, Ross.
That's how you put some power on that freshman. He is known for breaking tackles. That time, not so much.
So Louisiana Monroe team has been an underdog in every game except the Southern Miss matchup. They're used to being doubted. Certainly win percentage statistically went down pretty low at the end of the first half, but can they close out this third quarter with a touchdown? It is Hardy keeping his feet alive. Did he get in? Right now they're marking him at the 1.
And he comes up hobbling.
Moving on the field, the runner was short of the goal line. First down.
Jason, notice, look at the penetration. It's not there. As you see the end of this play, he's diving for it, and man, that is really close. If I'm the Warhawks, I'm asking for some sort of review, but that knee does hit, but where was the ball when it did hit?
And it crossed the goal line.
Looks like it might have touched just before as we go back to live action. This offensive line, Jason, is really heated up.
Hardy's running behind it again. And this time the touchdown signal is up. It's been the Warhawks quarter. And time we have a football game.
No question about it. And it's being led by the big boys up front. Think of how many running opportunities in the first half where you saw white jerseys getting penetration and you couldn't get it developed. Well, where's the penetration now? You got one linebacker running through in a blitz, but he gets picked up. And when you got a dynamic back like Hardy, if you just give him the ability to use his eyes and cut where he sees it, he's going to get positive yards, and in this case, a touchdown.
Each of the last 2 meetings between these teams decided by 1 point. It was Texas State that jumped out to a 28-0 lead today. And comeback wins have been a key element to the series history in recent years. Max Larson for this extra point. Every point crucial. Special teams not a guarantee with this rain still coming down. He does hook it in, and it's 28-14. If you stuck with us, you've seen UL Monroe gather some new life on the field, in the end zone, and on their sideline. Louisiana Monroe doubling up those first half numbers in this third quarter that has belonged to the Warhawks.
Are they swag surfing?
Oh, swag surf in the ponchos.
Yes. All right, I just hurt my knee.
You got the workout in this morning. You're supposed to stretch after and before.
And should we tell the audience you did not get your workout?
So you didn't have to tell people that. You didn't have to.
Keeping it real.
So now this ball returnable for Cole Wilson. Promptly that hole gets closed up quickly. Wydette Williams, who's got 63 tackles on the season entering today. A guy who not only does it defensively, but takes pride in his special teams too. So Bryant Vincent had this shirt made. It's got the 134 on it. They were picked to finish 134 out of 134. People thought this was going to be the worst program in college football. Went 2-10 last year. The PTW means prove them wrong. And the LFG means let's, a word that we can't say on television, go. With 2:32 to go in this third, he's charging them up a little bit with that 134 mindset. So now, can the offense for Texas State that stalled a bit respond? It is a good run from Brad Jackson. You kind of know what they're going to do when Brad Jackson's in the game. They also haven't had Jordan McLeod in a few series, their typical starting quarterback who went down against Louisiana. You see Bryant Vincent. So again, his timeline here, different assistant coaching jobs, was the OC and QB coach at UAB in addition to the interim head coach for a year in 2022. As they back up the offensive line here, Texas State, not easy to do. Devontae Wells on the tackle. But for Vincent, he's been in situations where he has turned programs around. At UAB in 2018, he was a part of their first bowl victory ever. He's trying to be a part of the first ever bowl victory here. A win away from bowl eligibility. Eerily similar situations. Oh, what a hit! An absolute blast from Wydett Williams detonated on Jackson there.
That's our guy. And this is a former quarterback. And I was talking to him like, you know, if you play quarterback and you move to defense, your lack of physicality can get exposed. And I was about to say, but not you. And he was like, whoa, whoa, not me. I was like, I see you, big fella. His eyes got steely, and he got serious real quick. This guy does not play. This guy is coming to lay some pain on every ball carrier he confronts. I like guys like that.
3rd and 7, a big one in this game. Texas State had only ran 4 plays before this drive. Can Monroe stop him again in this quarter? Timeout called.
And getting deep into that play clock. This is where, again, you're having an inexperienced player.
Prior to the penalty for delay of game, charge timeout, Texas State. This would be a 30-second timeout.
And as great as Brad has been, and he's been tremendous, this is where having an inexperienced player on the road, crowd's starting to get a little noisy, starting to feel some resistance from the defense. Can a young player like this, with a lack of reps, lead your team as you try to hold on to this lead?
But don't forget, coming up, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on ABC and ESPN Plus. We've got the SEC on ABC. It's off to Oxford for number 3 Georgia and number 16 Ole Miss. Crucial game for Ole Miss's college football playoff hopes, of course. And Georgia, number 3 in the nation. Alabama and LSU in Death Valley tonight. A big day in this state of Louisiana. That feels like a college football playoff eliminator potentially tonight.
No doubt. No doubt about it.
See the historic offensive numbers that Ole Miss was putting up at the beginning of the season and had a rocky start to SEC play, but looking for a big win today.
ULM showing pressure, and they bring it.
There it comes. They got it out. Broken up. Excellent play from Wydett Williams.
Leads the team in tackles. Right up there at the top in pass breakups. He does everything for this defense. That's man coverage. You brought pressure to get the ball out of the young player's hands, and you're relying on guys like Williams to make a play in the ball in the air.
And what did he tell us, Tayoko? We talked to him yesterday in the office. He said, I like to be around the ball more so than I like to even make a big hit. I like having my hands on it, in his words, because he's a former quarterback. Didn't even really make the change fully from QB to defense until his freshman year at Delta State, where he transferred from. Native about an hour away from here as that punt gets off. And the fair catch made cleanly from Wells.
19.
45 seconds to go in the third. Comeback mode.
Starting to feel it a little different, right?
Definitely a palpable vibe amidst that sideline that wasn't there. We'll look at this week's college football playoff rankings brought to you by Allstate. See some of the matchups, these top 10 teams. The Georgia-Ole Miss game, again, coming up 3:30 Eastern time, SEC on ABC.
Been so impressed with University of Miami.
Yeah, how about BYU?
They're back. BYU, listen.
Utah, I love that game when BYU and Utah get together, man. That's always so fun.
No question. BYU's not getting talked about enough.
So Lofting into one-on-one coverage. He wants Artis Cole. Out of his reach, Eaton on the coverage. There is a flag down, and the Warhawks sideline seems to think it's against Texas State.
And that's the first real shot they've taken, Jason. Just a 50-50 ball.
See what referee Marshall Lewis ends up telling us here.
Pass interference, defense, number 1. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Wow, that's big on Eaton.
And it's interesting that ULM staff told us that these guys are very physical on the outside, and they normally don't get called. They get handsy. And they said, we're going to talk to the officials and let them know, hey, you got to call the illegal contact and defensive holding because we're going to be taking some shots.
Oh, snap, bobbled initially. Armenta just did well to pick it up and avoid any further potentially disastrous danger.
That was a crucial block by Jones right at the point of attack. Watch number 4, Jones, who's supposed to get this ball. Now watch him turn and cut. That's a great job. And that is Johnny on the spot, heads up football to protect your quarterback who's trying to scoop the ball off the turf. If he doesn't make that block, that ball's squirting around, and who knows who gets it.
To think so quickly to do that, man, incredible.
Football instincts.
Maybe the final play of the third quarter. As Godfrey in motion, another low snap, and the ball hits the turf again. Wow. And now Armenta and Carter Miller, the center, not on the same page.
Now this is again where you need to lean on your experience in the spring. All the practicing in the rain. You got to be better in this. You're trying to come back at home. You can't have mistakes like this down 14.
No days off around here. Track team still getting the work in the rain.
Now see,
next door.
That's the type of dedication I need you to have, Jason Ross Jr. You didn't show up for your workout this morning.
You've called me out twice now.
I had the weights nice and warmed up for you, but you never showed.
You did send me a text at 6:15 a.m. Shout out to you. Getting in there.
I'm not going to mention on air. We're not back, are we?
See, I think you know what you're doing. You pretend you don't, as meanwhile this defense for Texas State gets in there again. Terry Webb on the tackle, and it'll be punt time for UM Monroe.
Well, Monroe just went backwards the entire drive.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the third straight TFL. Fumbles were the first 2 culprits, and here, this is just a great pass rush where you see a slow collapse of the pocket. Great coverage downfield, but Texas State's been doing this opponents all year. They get after the passer, they get after the run game with TFLs. Great job.
So first Mackenzie Ryan punt of the half. They scored on those first couple of drives. Fair catch made by Hobart. Punt of 43 yards.
Fair catch.
The 14th annual State Farm Champions Classic is Tuesday in Atlanta this year. Always a fun times for college hoops fans. Number 1 Kansas taking on Michigan State in the first game at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. Then we'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Love squeezing that in there with Reese and the guys each year. And then after that, Cooper Flagg and number 7 Duke square off against number 23 Kentucky. Always a great night. It's going to be a fun night Tuesday. All on ESPN.
Who's tanking for Flagg in the NBA?
Your Wizards?
Yes. I would say that they are definitely.
Again, you know what you're doing before you say things.
I mean, I'm just saying, and I hope we get them. Ping Paul's got to bounce our way. We need him in D.C.
So now a hole opens up on the left side, back to the ground game. It is Hankins who had an electric start to the game when Texas State was really moving. It's a gain of 13 there. Yeah, Brad Jackson, clearly the QB they're sticking with right now.
No question about it, and he's a run threat, and that's allowing these holes to open up for the run game because you got to play it a little bit slower because you're not sure if Jackson's going to keep it. But I'm going to be honest with you, I can't tell the difference sometimes between Deion Hankins, number 88, and 21 Mahdi.
Yeah.
I mean, Hankins is really showing me something.
Again, Jordan McLeod started the game. He leads the Sun Belt in passing touchdowns with 1,900 yards passing. Didn't really throw it much when he was in. You wonder about his status as Hankins goes down. Tackle made by Randall. But Brad Jackson, the freshman, really in his consistent debut here, stepping in and trying to guide this offense down the field.
And what I've seen, though, they've allowed him to open it up a little bit, Jason, with his pass game. I mean, they kept him in a phone booth early on to get him in a rhythm, get him comfortable in the game. Now they're throwing a little bit with his men as well. And so here's a situation where you got 2nd and long. Do you stick with the run game, or do you allow him to pass this ball in this situation? This will tell me a lot about the confidence they have in this kid.
Texas State led 28-0. They dump it off, incomplete, just throwing that away to set up 3rd and 9. It's been 14 unanswered points from UL Monroe since then. Tristan Shorter on the pressure that time.
So this is a 3rd and long situation. If you're the Warhawks, you've got to get off the field here. The field position game is being played, has been played the entire game. Obviously, you do not want to give up a 1st down. That takes away a possession from your offense, but also it will flip the field even more. You've got to get off the field here to continue this momentum that you've got. And obviously for Texas State, big decision making in terms of what you do with this offense under this young quarterback's tutelage. Do you allow him again and try to drop back and throw the ball? Do you run and keep the clock going?
They opt to hand it off. There was a whistle before the snap. Went to Perry. Was there a timeout called?
Second charge timeout, Texas State.
Yeah, so Texas State has used 2 of their timeouts in this half. We'll be right back.
The new 12-team college football playoff begins December 20th on ESPN.
Yeah, that's how I get by.
Back 3rd and 9 here. Maybe the biggest 3rd down in the game to this point. With the Warhawks trying to get a stop and get their offense back on the field. They have to run it again to the Bobcats. It's Motti right into the face of Wydad Williams and Carl Funtroy. And that'll bring up 4th down. So punt unit getting set to come on. Now, beginning of the 4th quarter, can UL Monroe answer and make this a 1-possession game? Devon Wells back to return the punt as the rain continues to fall heavier and heavier on the ponchoed up band here in Monroe. Texas State in the second half, 3 punts. Nunez, the 2nd punter we've seen today for the Bobcats in the game now. It came after that. Fair caught at the 12. They're looking at group of 5, best chance to reach the playoff. Mentioned Tulane is on ESPNU later today, but Boise State and Army, you see Army unbeaten. They've got North Texas today, then a huge matchup with Notre Dame next week. That's going to be a top 20 matchup between Army and Notre Dame.
Boise's got Nevada.
Yeah, Louisiana, of course, in the Sun Belt. We'll have a group of 5 team in there. This expanded 12-team playoff, new this year. One of the coolest parts about it.
Some great matchups right there.
I remember those years Boise State has said so many years back in the day, like Kellen Moore, where they wish there was a 12-team playoff.
Well, here you go.
Back. So Armenta to the air quickly. That is intercepted. Picked off by Trez Moore. Receiver was nowhere near the throw. Clearly a miss in timing, or did you see the receiver potentially?
Well, he fell down.
Yeah.
The receiver fell down out of his break, and again, that's that weather.
There it is.
Take
like
a look at it. Yeah, that's Griffin right there. See, and that's that's just unfortunate. That's just the way it goes. That's where the weather becomes a defender in this game. Coming out of his break, slips down, and it becomes an easy interception, and it looks ugly, but it's no one's fault. Just one of those things that happen. You got to give credit to Moore for being where he was supposed to be and not dropping the football.
It's Moore's first pick of the season. Combination of the turf and rain monster.
Yep.
There. And now Texas State trying to turn the tide at the 32 of the Warhawks. Can they now punch on that mistake? As Hankins on the ground, that's been the name of the game. With McLeod clearly not 100% QB, so they've stuck with Brad Jackson.
A lot of carries there for your backup running back Hankins, and why not? He's played so well, and it keeps Motti fresh. You got a great 1-2 punch Marty goes 5'9", 185, but Hankins, 6 foot 228, just a different type of back.
Yeah, he's got 11 carries. Brad Jackson has 14 for nearly 100 yards. The QB, they hand it off again. 12th carry for Hankins. Tauka, this slip again, which could prove to be a pivotal point in the game.
Yeah, and I think what happened was that he planted on his inside foot, Jason. I mean, in that situation, when you're running that post, you've got to plant on your outside foot. And when the ground is wet, the fundamentals of planting really become an issue. And see, right, so he planted on the outside, but he just lost his footage. So now my question is, what are you wearing? Are your spikes long enough to be able to plant sharp running full speed? Because he lost his balance like he wasn't wearing long enough cleats. All these things are little subtle things. When the rain shows up, it's not so subtle.
I mean, Hankins just doesn't go down as Monroe's trying to hold him to 3, but that was a huge potential turning point in the game.
And I've heard running backs and receivers talk about when the ground is wet, you got to run with your feet up underneath you. You can't let your feet get outside of the frame of your body because you're not going to be able to keep your balance and you're going to slip down. And that's what happened there. So here we go. Big play again. TFL would be just what the doctor ordered for ULM.
2nd and 2, back to Hankins, and there's the TFL you asked for, if not right at the spot where they handed it off. Randall coming up to make the tackle.
Again, if I'm making these calls, I'm blitzing my linebackers every single time that number 8 is in the game, because Brad Jackson is going to keep it himself or he's going to hand it off. 3rd down, different. But 1st and 2nd down, I'm blitzing to stop the run, and that's exactly what happened there. $14 tackles now for Randall, career high. He is balling.
3rd and 3. Hankins eluded the initial trouble, but didn't get past the second wave, led by Earl Barquette, who's back in his home state after he started his career at USC and TCU. Huge play there.
Yeah, that's a Power 5 talent right there. And that's just a great job of sifting through. They're trying to influence him to crash down inside. And again, just playing with your eyes open and feeling it. Sometimes, Jason, it's about a feel to the game. Sometimes you just got to be instinctive and go make plays, and number 97 did that.
Field goal still big here, because theoretically if Monroe scored a touchdown 21 to 28 versus 21 to 31 is huge. That's a 32-yard attempt. That is good from Mason Shipley. 8:28 to go in the 4th. We'll be right back here in a rainy Monroe, Louisiana.
The Allstate Saturday Kickoff is brought to you by Allstate. You're in good hands. And the DQ sauced and tossed chicken strip basket. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
All right, some legends here. Tauka, your guys, George Strait, the king of country music.
Number 18
Tim
for
McGraw,
Texas State is now
who was on a baseball scholarship in Louisiana Monroe.
I did not know that.
Yeah, a little fun fact for you. His dad, Tug McGraw, former MLB pitcher.
Hello, darling. Nice to meet you.
I see what you did there.
It's been a long time. You didn't know I had that type of
I didn't know
skills.
you had the Tennessee twang.
I'm versatile, bro. I am so versatile.
You got the orange tie.
Yes.
You went to music school in Nashville. And today you're taking me to football school. We're going to take you to some hoops school this upcoming week. We got some women's hoops for you. Here's tomorrow's women's college basketball lineup at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Gonzaga and Stanford square off at Maples Pavilion. 2 teams, they're in the NCAA tournament, a season to go. Really good matchup. And on ESPN, number 9 NC State, speaking of deep runs in the tourney last season, takes on number 1 South Carolina in the first game of the Allied tip-off in Charlotte. Phenomenal matchups. Going to get Virginia Tech and Iowa as well on ESPN2. All 3 games in the ESPN app.
The only problem about that song I sang, it was sung by Conway Twitty. So that's a problem.
So you're throwing everyone off.
Right.
Armenta trying to throw off the defense.
Ooh.
To the sideline. Trez Moore, who had the interception on the last drive, came over to break that up.
Listen, I don't think you need to abandon this run game. I understand the clock is starting to become an enemy, but it's not there yet. You can still run this football as long as you continue to get first downs and move it. It doesn't really matter how you're doing it right now because you've got timeouts. You've got the 2-minute timeout. You're fine here.
And the 5-1 start for Louisiana Monroe is their best start in the FBS era as Armenta gets that away. Catch made by Devon Wells. Have lost 2 in a row since that 5-1 start. Trying to get to bowl eligibility, but like Tayoka said, clock is ticking now on this game.
Love the completion. Obviously got the first down. Man, if he can somehow keep his feet, there's more room to be made or money to be made downfield if you can somehow just get that completion on the run.
Offense caught fire, found life in the third quarter. Can they rediscover that energy here in the fourth? Armenta's throw intended for Cole. Once again, bottled up by Trez Moore, who's having a good second half.
Yeah, he is. And they've been really inefficient with the 50-50 balls down the sidelines. Haven't really been able to get anything on the outside. They've made most of their hay across the middle and with some play pass and misdirections in the flat. But the jump ball just hasn't been there for them.
Last time these teams met, it was Texas State that had the fourth quarter comeback. It was an 11-point fourth quarter comeback to get a 21-20 victory. Each of the last 2 matchups decided by 1 point. Texas State's defense has been wreaking havoc, but it is Hardy up the gut, up to the second level. He might break this all the way. Dragged down inside of the 15.
When your most explosive player is the running back, you give it to the running back. I understand you're down 2 scores and it's getting late, but it's never too late for that.
Gain of 48 from a former 0.
Great job of coming back and blocking the edge there by tight end Julian Nixon. And again, he has great vision. And watch the explosion. Look at him read it out. Cutting back and then finding it. Dynamic player.
Told us his Uncle Kendrick and Uncle Wayne, who both played for Southern Miss, who were running backs. That's where he kind of fell in love with the position. They go back to the ground game, spinning off tacklers. Like you said, such a mature runner.
Mature, but first things first, ball security. Make sure you're securing the ball. I love everything you're doing, young freshman. Secure the football. Second thing, that's 4 straight 100-yard games. I mean, this is what he does. And he's going to terrorize this conference for years to come.
A true freshman, people. I mean, and #1 in the country amongst true freshmen in rushing yards. Under 7 minutes to go, though. You're right, the difference has been the ball security. 2 turnovers from the Warhawks. The pump, and that ball dangerously floated into traffic, but credit the hit that was able to make that a wobbly throw.
When you're getting penetration, you like to run play pass to slow the D-line down. That's not how they play, though. These guys get up the field. Dominique Radcliffe is getting in a crease and getting a hit on your quarterback on play-action pass where he's not supposed to be there.
Dominique Radcliffe rushing his way up the middle. 3rd and 8 is what it brings up. 3 of 10 on the day on 3rd down.
Armenta has to be smart. Don't put the ball at risk.
Can get the first down without a touchdown. Armenta steps up. Man at his ankles, and Hardy couldn't hang on. Bryce Bass got up there near the ankles around Armenta, which forced the decision. And now 4th and 8 to try to
ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
Keep their hopes alive. Looks like they...
Let's see if he took his eyes off the ball, Jason, before it gets there. He's a blocker on that play, and Armenta's trying to improvise. This is not an easy catch, and I think he might have took his eyes off the ball looking for somebody coming up to get a big hit on him. First things first, catch, then run.
They're going to go for the field goal just to try to make it a 2-possession game.
Yeah.
So then, again, you need stop, score, stop, score. 31-yard attempts. Larson able to connect. So with 6:02 to go, a 2-score game here in Monroe. Saturday kickoff, Jason Ross Jr. and Tayoka Jackson, our outstanding crew here in Monroe behind the scenes, doing a phenomenal job in the truck. Taoka, that last decision to go for the field goal versus touchdown, what'd you think?
Well, 4th and 8, that's the long way to go. But I'm not sure kicking the field goal really gains you anything. And, then, you know, you're about to be under 6 minutes. The clock is going to become an adversary. I'm thinking you probably try to get a touchdown there, or at least the first down if you can, because you didn't really gain anything, like I said, because you're still a 2-possession ball game.
Mahdi lets that one roll into the end zone.
A little dangerous there.
Yep. By the way, quick shout out to our camera ops, doing a great job in this weather today. My guy Newman still got his run in this morning, 6:30 a.m., and then got to the camera pretty quickly. There's Newman. Newman.
I'm surprised Newman made it in, because the amount of seafood he consumed last night.
He had a dessert too. We're calling out Newman.
Yeah, really.
Newman had, what was the red pudding?
Yeah, it was bread pudding.
Red, yeah, like bread pudding. Was it red bread pudding?
That's exactly what it was.
It was.
I would have went with the white chocolate myself, but that's just me.
Not that I didn't go with the brownie with a ton of, you know, ice cream covered.
I see you told on yourself right there. I wasn't gonna bring that up. A lot of hot chocolate on that brownie too.
Shout out to Sam and the Waterfront Grill.
Sam does a great job with that Waterfront Grill though.
So run up the middle, and Hankins just barreling people, but the ball came out. It's still available. They're trying to deliberately swat it over to the sideline to get out of bounds. Nothing, a guarantee with 5:52 to go.
First of all, I don't know if that's Deion Hankins or is that Jim Brown. Like, look at this guy. Guy's just bouncing off. Are you kidding me? You just got to hold on to that ball.
Which subsequently went backwards and out of bounds and is dead at that spot. It still results in a first down.
Man, I mean, so that went from being an amazing run to almost a disaster to everything's okay again. But if I'm the Warhawks D-line and defense overall, I'm like, they're going to run the football. We have got to stop the run. I'm not concerned about pass right now. We got to stop the run and give our offense a chance.
5 on the play clock. 1st and 10. Dragged out by Perry this time. The more you keep getting these first downs, UL Monroe has not used one of their timeouts left yet. Still got the 2-minute timeout as well. You need 2 scores.
So the definition of an outstanding offensive line is you can run the football when they know you're going to run it.
And it doesn't matter who's running it.
That's exactly right. So again, at the end of the day, the control of the line of scrimmage is what this is all about.
Knock on wood, still one of 8 teams in the FBS to start the same guys up front in every game this season.
Smartly taking their time, going deep into the play clock. This is how you do it.
Wind it all the way down. Back to the ground they grow. Perry grinding it out. Move the chains again into Warhawk territory.
So this is their 3rd string or maybe even 4th string running back on their team.
Yeah,
and he's coming in with fresh legs. And so he's able to bounce it back outside because he's a little bit fresher than the defense.
Texas State trying to put themselves 1 game away from bowl eligibility.
If you're ULM, at some point you have to start thinking about your timeouts. What you're hoping for, though, is a negative play. You got to give them something to call a timeout for.
Low snap. Good job to scoop it up off the deck from Jackson. Randall with the tackle. The G.J. Kinney, head coach for Texas State, told us best part about the game of football is the parallel in life. You always have a chance to get up off the mat and respond. You still got opportunities to respond. You need some help, of course, in that West Division. You need some Louisiana losses there down the stretch. But trying to get to 5-4 on the season and take that tiebreaker in the conference record over UL Monroe. South Alabama there at 3-2 as well. And Arkansas State at 3-1. But they want to finish strong for these seniors. They have seniors that go back to the Incarnate Word days where the staff of G.J. Kinney came from over to Texas State. Several transfers came with them from Incarnate Word. And it is at the utmost level of importance for Kinney and this staff to finish out strong with the bowl win for these seniors.
And speaking of utmost importance, this is the biggest 3rd down of the game.
Yep.
If you're Texas State, you get a first down here, you essentially win the game.
It's 3rd and 6, a season-high 290 rushing yards for this offense today. That it is known for going vertical, throwing it through the air, tossing it around, but today we'll see if they go back to the ground on 3rd down. A keeper here for Jackson. Found the right side, found the first down, found the biggest first down of the game.
Tip your cap to Mac Leftwich, the offensive coordinator of the Bobcats. Fake the dive, bringing around a tight end to be a lead blocker, and this freshman has been dynamic the entire day. And watch the end of this play. Take a look at the ball security, wrapping up with 2 hands. He gets it, folks.
They got 2 guys over 100 yards rushing, the quarterback, Brad Jackson, and also Deion Hankins.
And just think, neither one of those guys is named Ismail Mahdi,
right?
Who might be the best player in the conference.
We talked about the open.
Right.
That's the 2-minute timeout.
We've hit the 2-minute timeout. 31-17, Texas State trying to head back to San Marcos with a win. With the exciting fall season rolling along into November now, the Sun Belt on ESPN Plus is your exclusive home for more than 1,400 games and events. Have already streamed a ton. It's also the destination for all Sun Belt championships. And for limited time, new and returning ESPN Plus subscribers can get 12 months for the price of 9 as they go back to this ground game with Texas State. Lincoln Perry moving ahead. What's been a statement day for a Texas State team that came in here with back-to-back losses, hadn't played since October 29th. They were getting antsy. They wanted to get back out on the field. And had this 11 a.m. kick today, and they were like, we don't care. We're ready to go. We practice in the morning anyway. Didn't know if they'd have Jordan McLeod, their starting QB, leader in the Sun Belt in passing touchdowns. Brad Jackson steps in. Not a lot of Texas State fans even knew about Brad Jackson. Highly touted recruit for them. He has used his legs today to move this offense. They'll keep it that way with Perry approaching the final minute.
Lincoln Perry with the carry. The numbers are staggering. They've gone, first of all, rushing for Texas State average 184 yards a game, which is pretty good. They've gone for 304 today, 6.1 a carry.
First charge timeout, ULM. This will be a 30-second timeout.
And that was before those last
game
couple
clock
runs.
Operator, please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 9 seconds. 1:09.
So they're over 310 now?
Thank you.
I mean, that's insane. And you got 2
ridiculous,
players over 100 yards each. I mean, that's just the offensive line completely manhandling the defensive front for the most part.
They played to these conditions today. Heavy rain really all throughout the day. One of the best offensive lines in the Sun Belt has done some work. Remaining schedules. So, again, UL Monroe will go down today, but they still are on the cusp of bowl eligibility. 1 win away. Going to be tough to get there. I mean, this is at Auburn, at Arkansas State, Louisiana. It is going to be a challenge to get to that elusive number 6, a program that's had 1 winning season in the last 20 years. The last bowl game came in 2012, Independence Bowl loss to Ohio.
Yeah, if you're a Warhawk fan, you're wondering where's that elusive bowl win going to come, or bowl eligibility win going to come, looking at those 3 games.
0-1 all time in bowl games. Texas State won their first bowl game in program history last year with the 8 wins. They want to get back there and finish strong for what G.J. Kinney called a special group of seniors. Another timeout called. Let's look at our best moment presented by AT&T 5G.
Well, some deception.
Second charge timeout, ULM. This will be a 30-second time.
Texas State had established a run, and now this is a new age triple option. And you bring your quarterback around the corner. If there's nobody home, he runs it. If someone comes up, you got a streaking wide receiver down the field. Cole Wilson was that. Didn't miss the layup and made the catch. And that's when you knew things were going to be a little bit different for the Bearcats today. Great game plan, great execution. This was a toughness win on the road in really nasty conditions against a team who needed to win.
Cole Wilson had that 41-yard catch earlier. It was off how they established the run game early on with the other 2 guys on the screen.
And we wondered, what was the rain going to do to the game plan? Well, it changed the game plan, there's no question, because they came out running the football.
Yeah.
And running it well. And it started off with Marty, but it didn't end that way. They had 3 backs who really were productive today.
They had a good amount of time working with each guy in practice this week. And for the second time this game, Jackson is going to scoot his way into the end zone for some style points.
Well, I mean, that's how it's kind of gone. And it's only fitting that he gets what looks to be probably the last touchdown of the game, because he's probably the player of the game.
And fittingly, a team that averaged 37 points a game a season ago, they weren't quite playing up to par offensively the last 2 games. Last 2 losses held under 20 points. They go out today, score 21 in the first half, 28 in the first half, 21 pretty quickly to get past that number. And now you got 37 on the board, possibly 38 with this extra point.
Wow. You talking about playing to your identity.
Yeah.
That was the 54th run of the game, okay? And this is how you wear down a defense. You keep hitting them in the body. We talk about it all the time. It's like boxing. Running the football is like boxing. Those body blows take the legs out of your opponent deep in the round. Same thing with football. You continue to run the football and be physical, eventually you wear that defense down. So 54 runs, and again, very little passes. 14 passes the entire game, and you still put 38 points on the board.
Just incredible as the rain continues to pour down, but it's a rain that feels pretty good on the Texas State sideline right now.
You can best believe that flight home is going to be nice. The food tastes better after a win, right? The orange juice is a little bit sweeter.
The food around here always tastes pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And in San Marcos.
All right, the question is, that chicken spot we landed on.
And fish.
Will we be, and fish, that's right. Will we be hitting that again, or, I mean, will we save some for someone else?
You say things that you know the answer to pretty often.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually how lawyers do it, and I learned from, I've been around too many lawyers is what I'm trying to say, Jason, and I never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
Well, on that note, under a minute to go in this fourth. This game wrapped up. Texas State going to get back above 500, a group that thought they really should have started 4-0. Again, to go back, you started 2-2, but the 2 losses were both by 3 points or less to Arizona State, and Sam Houston blew the big lead. They did not blow the lead today.
No, and if you're the Warhawks, I mean, this is some darkness now. I mean, and we talked to Bryant Vincent about teaching his guys to come out of the darkness. Well, this is it right here. This is going to be a culture challenger. But, again, after talking to him and their staff and their kids, I think they're going to be up to this task. I don't know who's going to win or lose those next 3 games, but I will be shocked if they don't play better as this season ends.
Still taking some shots downfield, coming over the top.
Armenta's pass incomplete, intended for Tyler Griffin.
It was Cameron Pearson who broke it up. But, I mean, to your point, Sayoke, I love that you use the words culture challenge there, because 73 new players jump out to the 5-1 start, program record on the FBS level. Now you've got a tough road coming up with Auburn, Arkansas State, and Louisiana, a win away from bowl eligibility. My favorite quote, maybe of the season so far from a head coach, was when Brian Vincent said, every snap has a life of its own. How do you embrace that life? Right now, it's going to have to find some new life heading into next week at Auburn. That'll be on SEC Network.
When you're in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, it's crazy how light the bandwagon gets, right? People jump off the bandwagon. Well, that's fine. I mean, the men in the building are all they need to turn it around.
Yep.
And, again, this is what it's about. It's not always going to be rosy. You're building something here. And this is one of those early challenges to your culture and your way of doing things. You got to challenge your young men not to question what we're doing, not to question themselves. Just go back and do what we do better than you've ever done it all year.
Every half of football for them, other than the opening half today and the second half against South Alabama, has really portrayed the identity of what Brian Vincent is trying to build. And it's been consistent mentality. Aiden Armento, one of the guys who followed him from New Mexico, the players who signed, he told them, I want guys who want to be here, and I want to make history. And they still have chances to do that down the stretch and get to that elusive bowl game. They've only been to 1 in program history on the FBS level. 2012, they lost that to Ohio in the Independence Bowl. 4th and 4, potentially last offensive play of the game for Monroe if they can't move the chains. Looks like they will.
You know, you got to give some credit also to Texas State. They were in a situation earlier this year where they were up 22-0 against Sam Houston State in the first quarter.
Absolutely.
And Sam Houston State came back and won that game, right? So I've seen something a little bit different in terms of the fight and understanding how you finish a game when you get a big lead early. Obviously, ULM fought back in this game and made it exciting, but then Texas State responded and got control of the football game, again, something they didn't do earlier in the year.
Could this be the response that helps retract Texas State season into bowl season if they can win another one after this? Likely the final play of the game here. Armenta and the Warhawks will try to bounce back against Auburn next week, but Texas State will win the day and win their 5th game of the season on the road. Really a gutsy effort and a heck of a coaching job from G.J. Kinney and his staff to alter their game plan through injuries, through weather. Two coaches that have a ton of respect for one another, coaching programs that have similar trajectories right now. With a hug there, Brian Vincent and G.J. Kinney. But Texas State will head back to San Marcos with the victory. Always a blast, my friend.
My pleasure, man. Enjoyed this one.
So for Tioka Jackson, our entire ESPN crew, shout out to our cameras hanging out in the weather, battling through it. You guys did a phenomenal job. Newman, go get that run in before you go back to Mississippi. I'm Jason Ross Jr. Fantastic job in the truck, guys, behind the scenes. Again, through the weather today. Texas State wins at 38-17. Coming up, college football 150, the American game.